Yo, what is up YouTube? James Baek here, a 2020 international champion as well as third place at the most recent world championship back in 2019 here again. And yes, I am advised to say that because some of you might not know who I am and what my content is about. I do high level VGC content, and today we're going to be doing an analysis on Regieleki. And if you do enjoy this kind of analysis content, and if you are a current subscriber, just make sure you double check to make sure you are subscribed, because YouTube does unsubscribe you from channels. It really does change things. And yeah, if you need a reason to subscribe, I do high level VGC content, including battling, some high level commentary as well. And then I do some guides to improve on VGC skills. So if you are interested in that kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, be sure to hit that like button as well, as it really does help out. Leave a comment down below of what you think about Regieleki. But right now we're going to be doing some analysis. So if you don't know, Regieleki, one of the new Pokemon in the Crown Tundra available in Series 7. Got a lot of hype around this Pokemon. It's actually currently top 10 in usage stats even before the official ladder comes out. So yeah, that's actually kind of insane that this Pokemon's already top 10 in usage stats. And people have been hyping this Pokemon up. Will it be better than Tapu Koko is the question. And here I'm going to be answering all those questions. I'm going to be giving you a breakdown of its moves, item choices, the EV spreads you could run, and the opinions on usage wise. Is this Pokemon actually going to be used quite a bit, or is it not, or is it very niche and probably won't be seen a lot in competitive battle once the official ladder starts? So yeah, let's talk about it. So Regieleki, a pure electric type with transistor as the ability. So when using an electric type attack, the attacking stat is multiplied by 1.5, which is actually a really good ability. Unlike electric terrain, which boosts the power of the attacking move, like Thunderbolt for instance, it actually affects the stat of the Pokemon, which is a really interesting mechanic. So that's actually pretty huge for this Pokemon. So if we look at his stats, 80 HP, which is decent, it's not bad. So 80 HP is actually pretty solid. Base 100 attack is pretty low. Its special attack and its attack stat are pretty low. It's base 100. However, that's where transistor will come into effect, as we'll talk about in a little bit. Its defense stats both 50, which isn't great. It's pretty low actually. So with its average HP stat, I'll say it's not exactly that good of a combination. Maybe I'll be able to live a hit or two naturally, but yeah, it's not exactly the best defensive Pokemon out there. But then when we come to the speed, 200, which is absolutely insane. If you look at its speed stat, it hits 220 without any investment, which outspeeds max speed Dragapult naturally, which is insane. And then I think the second fastest Pokemon is either Pheromosa or Ninjask. And Ninjask is 160 and Pheromosa is 151. I'm going to use Pheromosa's comparison because Ninjask is in Pokemon we really see in doubles competitive play. So if we look at max speed Pheromosa, I believe if I remember right, it hits 223 if I remember from a VGC 17 days, and it does hit 223. So if you look at this Pokemon right here and we want to outspeed that, all it takes is 28 speed investment, no nature included. So yeah, this Pokemon's fast. It's really fast. It will outspeed a lot of Choice Scarf Mons, which is insane. I don't think it will outspeed Chlorophyll Mons, however, unless they're like modest or something. Like I believe, let me see, Venusaur is 132, so multiplied is 264. Yeah, it can outspeed Choice Scarf modest Venusaur, but I don't think it actually outspeeds max speed Venusaur with Chlorophyll. Yeah, because you would need 291 and it hits 277 max. But just to give you an idea, that's really fast though. Like, that's extremely fast. So yeah, if we look however at its special attack and its attack stat, because we want to look at that for transistor, again multiplied by 1.5 the attacking stat when using electric type move. So no investment, Regieleki already hits 120. So if we're using an electric move, let's say Thunderbolt, it will increase to 180, which is actually pretty decent, especially since that's no attack investment. So let's see if we increase it to 2, max special attack with no nature. So it hits 152. So we would get a 1.5 boost if we are using electric type move. So that'd be like 70. That'd be like what I think it's like 76. We would increase it by, and then I think we get around 228 if I am not mistaken on this. So yeah, 228 special attack, which is pretty insane. So that actually does hurt quite a bit. Of course, the downside is you need to be using electric type move, but as we'll see, I don't think that's much of a problem. So if we look over the Pokemon's move pool right here, as you can see, doesn't really get the best move pool at all. Like, its move pool is very not that great. Let's just say it's not that great. So yeah, it does get some options. It mainly is electric type moves, get some normal type moves, a few support moves that we could look over, and then yeah. So when we talk about this Pokemon, I think of course one thing that comes to mind is it does get a signature move in Thunder Cage, and what Thunder Cage does is it traps the opponent for 4 to 5 turns and damages them as well. So it's a base power of 80 and a 90% accurate, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is a single target move, and I think the effect is single target. I could be wrong about that. Leave a comment down below if you know, because I'm actually not 100% sure on this one. But overall, I don't, if it traps both, then that's actually good, but I don't think it does. I think it only traps one foe, which I don't think is that great. So I think it'd be better if it was 100 power, because having that 90% accurate I don't think is absolutely worth it. I mean, it could be, like, I don't think Thunder Cage would be that bad. It's a little bit risky, but I don't think it's that bad. I do think Thunderbolt's more consistent in general as a move, and I know I'm gonna get comments about why not use Electro Ball, because this thing's based 200 speed. Won't it do a lot of damage because Electro Ball is based off speed? Electro Ball scales, so it scales from anywhere between, I don't remember if it can go down to 20. It's either 20 or 40 starts off with, and then it goes to 150 if I'm not mistaken. And Electro Ball or is a move that can, you know, do a lot of power if it's against a or will have a lot of power against a Pokemon that's really slow. Let's say a Stack Attacker, for instance. However, since a lot of speed tiers are usually around the middle, I'd say around 70-90 base speed is probably around the average speed tier that a Pokemon will have on like most teams. So yeah, if we look at Electro Ball, and since it scales quite heavily, actually, I think it only goes down to, I think, a base 80 power most of the time against those kind of Pokemon. So I think Thunderbolt's just more consistent in general, because one, you need to invest a lot of speed into Regieleki in the first place for the Electro Ball, and if you're investing a lot of speed, you might not be getting like modest damage from Regieleki, where Thunderbolt could hurt a lot more in general. So I do think Thunderbolt's probably better, and Electro Ball's a bit more of a niche. Like, Electro Ball could be better in situations, but again, I think it depends on what kind of Pokemon you're facing against, and I think just having consistency is more valued, especially in VGC. So yeah, that's why I think Thunderbolt is better. Its move pool wise, it's not bad. I mean, it does get some support moves, as we mentioned. Coverage wise, pretty poor though. Its special moves, you only get Ancient Power, normal type attacks, and electric type attacks, and then its physical move pool a bit better. It gets balance for max airstream. However, that balance is going to be super weak because of the fact that it's base 100 attacking stat. You're not getting that boost from Transistor, so I don't think it's absolutely worth it. So yeah, it does get screens and stuff for support. It gets Eerie Impulse and Screech, but otherwise I don't think it's really the best support mon. Although Electro Web is pretty cool of a move, because this thing is very fast and can get fast Electro Absolve, which if your opponent doesn't have a ground type Pokemon, it's very frustrating to handle, I think, for speed control. But otherwise, yeah, let's get into the potential set you could run on this Pokemon. So I think the staple for this Pokemon would be, you would run like Thunderbolt. I think Volt Switch is definitely going to be the most common move. I think it is the best move on Regieleki, because of the fact, again, it's a very frail Pokemon, so I wouldn't exactly say that you want to take hits, really. I think it's going to be like Tapu Koko, for instance, back in previous formats. Since Tapu Koko wasn't exactly the bulkiest Pokemon either, you're going to want to abuse it by using its fast speed to outspeed Pokemon, and Volt Switch around, maybe pivot around to, like, you know, for instance, intimidate Pokemon in general, or like just something better in the back and chip away at your opponent. And I think Regieleki probably going to be doing the same thing with Volt Switch. So I think Volt Switch is the better move, or the best move you could probably run on Regieleki. I think Thunderbolt as well, because I think Thunderbolt's just more consistent. As I mentioned before, you could run something like that Electric Cage or the Electro Ball, which is more situational, but yeah. You could also run Rising Voltage, but I think you would only run that if you're planning on Dynamaxing this Pokemon a lot, and I'm just not 100% sure of how common this will be as a Dynamax Pokemon. It can be for sure. I'm just not sure how good it will be as a Dynamax Pokemon, so I would say Rising Voltage maybe in the 3rd slot. Because I don't think you need ancient power at all, actually. I really don't. It just doesn't get much coverage. I think you could replace ancient power with either hyper beam for, you know, good max power, a support move in general, maybe like light screen or reflect, or you could even run like electro web. I think electro web is actually pretty good because of its support, and then or rising voltage, which could be good with this Pokemon if you Dynamax it quite a bit. So yeah, I think those are the options, and I think it'd be pretty decent. Otherwise, you could run a physical set with like wall charge, bounce, extreme speed slash giga impact, protect. Again, I don't think it's worth it because of the fact that because of how transistor works, it relies on the attacking stat, and if you get intimidated, it really cuts down. So I think special Regieleki is the superior option here, and that's why you're probably going to see special, even if it does get bounced, for instance. I think it's just better as a special attacker, and then like electro web for support. Otherwise, yeah, like you could run support with like Screech, Eerie Impulse. I think you would probably want to just run one of those. I think it's just better more as an offensive Pokemon than a support Pokemon, but we have seen like support Tapu Koko in the past with screen, so it could be an option. The thing about Regieleki is it's pretty frail. Like it's frailer than Tapu Koko, which is the problem I think in general. So yeah, I think that's what you would want to run. But of course you can, I think with the speed here, and that you don't need as much speed investment, you could definitely invest into bulk to make up for that. So EV spread wise, I think always max special attack regardless. Even if you're not going max special attack nature, for instance, I think you're always going max special attack to get the most out of Transistor as his ability, since I think you want Regieleki to hit hard, because the electric typing is really good offensively. So I think you would definitely want max special attack. Speed is really up to you, because again, you just decide, I think, on a threat. Like if you wanted to just outspeed Dragapult, like you don't need any speed. If you want to outspeed Pheromosa, for instance, just 28 is good. And then like you look into Choice Scarf users specifically, I think, or if you want to outspeed Modest Chlorophyll Venusaur, if that is going to be a thing in the future, I guess that could definitely be a factor. Maybe outspeed Modest Kingdra, that's definitely viable. So if you do want to outspeed those kind of Pokemon, you definitely can. It's definitely a potential option. So really comes down to that. Once you pick your speed, depending on like what you want to outspeed, then you just invest the rest in the bulk. I think it'll be interesting to see the speed stat of, I think, over time, because I don't think this Pokemon is a Pokemon that needs to invest max speed. I actually think investing max speed is a huge waste on this Pokemon, especially since 200 base speed. Like, are you really trying to speed type with this Pokemon? I don't think it's necessary to speed type without a Regieleki at all. Like, I don't think so. Like, Tapu Koko speed ties were kind of important back in the day, because like, you know, maybe you could two-shot Tapu Koko and or KO it with like the max move, or get a fast volt switch off, or maybe you want to speed tie like Mega Gengar, for instance, with Tapu Koko. But I think with Regieleki, it's absolutely just like a huge waste to invest in max speed when you could be investing in a bit more bulk and help out its weaknesses. So yeah, that's my opinion on Regieleki right there. Items wise, I think Magnet is probably, or the Zap Plate is probably the best item. I don't know if this is a Pokemon I would want to run Life Orb personally, because of the fact that, again, it only has electric moves. I think Magnet is just fine, because really you're only going to be relying on damage output with, I think, the electric type moves. So I think Life Orb is kind of a waste. I don't think Choice Specs is that great either, because again, it's only really running electric moves. So I'd say probably like Magnet or Zap Plate is going to be its best item. I don't think Life Orb is that great. Maybe you could run Light Clay if you're running the screens, but again, I do think it's better with Magnet and other things. You could run Seed, I guess, like the Grassy Seed, Misty Terrain Seed, stuff like that. I don't think it's like that great of a set, but it definitely can work, I suppose, especially with screens. And yeah, maybe Focus Sash could work, but again, I don't think you need to have Focus Sash if you invest into bulk and you don't run max speed on this Pokemon, for sure. So yeah, that is going to be my opinion on items. I don't think the bulky berries are really good with this Pokemon at all. It can work, but I don't think it's like that great. I do think, again, its best item probably Offensive Magnet or the Zap Plate, because of taking the, you know, use of Transistor with that boost as well. I think it's just really good in general. So yeah, or is Regieleki better than Tapu Koko? I do think it does have potential in being better than Tapu Koko. So the thing about Tapu Koko is that it's a Pokemon where a lot of teams, like for instance, they really like to pair it up with other Tapus. Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, or Tapu Koko, Tapu Lele were actually very common on the same team. And I think if you don't want to have that terrain war where you're conflicting with your own terrain user, then yeah, I think having Regieleki is better because A, its ability doesn't affect the terrain, obviously, but B, it's not reliant on terrain either because Transistor having affecting the attack stat without changing terrain is pretty nice. For instance, on Tapu Koko, where you would try to hit a Tapu Fini, for instance, like you switch in Tapu Fini, Thunderbolt was not doing that much damage because Tapu Koko didn't really hit that hard either. It didn't do much damage without the terrain. And terrain, once terrain was gone, Tapu Koko was really just not doing any damage. So yeah, Tapu Koko was a Pokemon that really relied on Z move as well as the terrain. And I think with the Z move gone, which is pretty huge as well, and the fact that terrain is nerfed to 1.5, what it used to be to 1.3 this generation, yeah, I do think that Transistor is actually kind of insane with Regieleki, especially since it affects the actual stat, which is actually really cool. So yeah, I would say that Regieleki might be better in that department, especially if you don't need the double fairy typing, since that was a problem with the Tapus back in the day. If you wanted to run Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, you were running double fairy, which wasn't that great in some situations because it made it harder to switch in, like to poison, for instance. So yeah, there is that option, as well as not wanting to change your own terrain. Of course, the benefit of having Tapu Koko was that fairy typing, as well as the extra terrain in case you were worried about terrain wars. Let's say you were scared about Tapu Lele a lot and you want to make sure that terrain was not going up, that side terrain, you had two options to switch in case one of your Tapus was already on the field and you didn't want to like pivot back, protect, and then go back into the Tapu. So yeah, there is that benefit. So it really just depends on your team, but I think Regieleki gonna have a lot of staples on teams that one don't need that extra fairy typing, which I think is huge, as well as like not needing to rely on electric terrain in general. And like Regieleki Tapu Fini I think is a really good pairing actually, because of the fact that you don't have to set up the electric terrain, for instance, if you need to switch in Tapu Koko and like boost Tapu Fini's weaknesses. So I think having Transistor is actually a better ability in general for Regieleki to be paired with like Tapu Fini, for instance, and again, not needing to rely on the terrain, just really nice in general. So I think I could definitely take it there. Do I think it deserves the high usage spot? I'm not 100% sure because I actually haven't tested this mon yet. Fairy wise, I think it definitely can. I think it's definitely a great Pokemon in general. I'm not sure if it's like top 10 in usage because I still think the other electric types there are to explore, like Rotom Wash, or the Rotom Force in general. The like Pokemon like Thundurus, for instance, are still decent, as well as Zapdos. So do I think this Pokemon will be good? For sure. I think this Pokemon's actually pretty solid. Like, I don't think the coverage does kind of hurt it. I don't think it's like too bad, especially since you're mainly clicking electric type moves with this Pokemon in general anyway, and volt switching out, I think. But yeah, I do think Regieleki is pretty decent. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you do think, what do you think about Regieleki in general? Do you think it will be good? And yeah, let me know in the comments down below. And if you have enjoyed this content, please be leaving a like down below, as it really does helping me out. And again, hit the subscribe button if you want more kind of content from me that is like this. But otherwise, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day, people, and until we bow again, I'll catch y'all later.